Right, we're live. All right, welcome back, everyone. 10 o'clock on the nose. And we have a new amendment, proposal of amendment from Rep. Tagliavia to review with council. Hi, council, how are you?
Good morning, Sophie Zadatni for the Office of Legislative Counsel. I'm going to go ahead and share the amendment. And this is not edited, so just as a heads up. This amendment does two things. So the first one is, this is all to do with Section 5, which is the event permit pilot program, the 2-year pilot program. And what this does is remove the ability for attendees at an event to consume on the premises, and it also limits event permits to only licensed cannabis retail establishments. So the current version that came over or was in this House GovOps version of S278, the proposed amendments, as came over from the Senate, would have allowed equitable distribution of the event permits to all types of licenses. So the first section eliminates Section A and replaces it. And again, this clarifies here that, make sure it's just going to highlight here, just adds in the word retail for retail establishment to make sure that's the limitation there. And then you can't see it, so that's okay. It replaces the final sentence. So the current sentence in Section 5 provides that notwithstanding Section 833 of this title, persons 21 years of age or older may consume cannabis or cannabis products at an event authorized pursuant to this section. So this final sentence here, no cannabis or cannabis products shall be consumed at an event authorized by this section. So again, eliminating the ability to retail at an event. The second instance of amendment, again, is just where it says a licensed cannabis establishment, now says a licensed cannabis retail establishment. So again, just doing that limitation. The third instance of amendment, this again is to do with consumption. And this particular section at the end of the sentence had, and again, this is the list of the requirements for individuals that want to have an event permit, requires compliance with any other health and safety requirements that the board may prescribe for the particular event or event location, including limits on attendees. And the current language makes reference to all types of products that may be consumed at the event site. So again, it's eliminating that reference to consumption. The fourth instance of amendment, again, is just adding in the word cannabis retail establishments to make clear that those are the folks that can have these licenses. And then the fifth instance of amendment in subsection F is deleting the second sentence, which states that for the permittee selection procedures, the board shall include a requirement that permits are issued equitably among cannabis establishment license categories. So it's taking away the fact that it could go to other types of licensees.
Thank you. I have two questions. The first is with regard to Rep. Nugent's amendment that limited the events to only municipalities that had voted to opt in to have a cannabis establishment, a licensed establishment. Where does that fall in this? Is that in the underlying bill now?
It's in Representative Nugent's separate amendment.
Okay, so that separately?
That's a separate amendment. That wasn't part of Representative Tagliafia's amendment.
Okay, the second question is probably a little more complicated. This amendment, the Tagliavia amendment, refers to event permits, but doesn't specify public or private. Is that correct, or is it all events?
That language is still in the version that was passed out of House General Law, so providing for 5 public, 5 private event permits.
Right, so I don't understand how, and maybe it's up to the amendment presenter to describe this to me, how one would have a private event, why one would have a private event and not allow consumption at that event. I'm not, because we had talked about weddings being one private venue that could get a event permit. So what's the reasoning behind this? And I don't know
I
who
think that
wants
would
to
be,
answer
yeah, I
that.
think that would be a better question for the representative. So we have council in front of us right now, and we'll get over to the number in a moment. Any other questions for council with the language right now? Like, we still have to wait for it to get cleaned up, have some conversations. So we'll have time. No? All right, thank you, council. Representative. Thank you, committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I decided to change my amendment because I'd rather get 80% of what I'm after instead of none. And I feel like this is going to, in most cases, prevent the consumption. I think consumption is my biggest concern, public safety, liability. I realize we have enough laws on the books and we realize we have those laws. Not everybody follows the law. With respect to this amendment, not everybody is going to follow the law. But my hope is most will. I hope that with this amendment, the consumption is stopped or prevented, and we get time to find out what the effects truly are before this is more completely normalized, so that we can, if we have more information, that we can make adjustments before it becomes a major public safety issue. And that's why I wanted to change it to prevent the consumption. I know that in this amendment, the retail establishment will be able to sell at either or and not both of their establishments, whether it be the event or their establishment. So here again, I would have liked to be able to eliminate the events, but I feel more comfortable eliminating the consumption option. Representative?
So how do you propose to eliminate consumption at a private event?
Here again, it's one of those things where my hope is that whoever hosts the private event understands when the permit is granted that there should be no consumption, and if there are reports of consumption, and whoever is licensed to do that particular event will not in the future get a license because of a violation. I understand your concern. I wish I could get no events, but I'm trying to find a way to better ensure public safety. And I think consumption, preventing the consumption at most, if not all, is a step in the right direction to public safety.
So I guess I don't really understand why anybody would even bother getting a private event license and paying for it, permit and paying for it.
In
So,
all honesty, my hope is that it would severely limit private events because of that.
it appears that no one would want to get one and pay the money for an event. So, okay, thanks.
Revenue?
I guess I could see, if this is what you're thinking, that it allows places that already have experience selling to showcase their products in a more a way where they can be with other products, but it doesn't introduce a whole new set of potential public safety issues that we might not have had enough experience handling yet. So, you know, like a farmer's market, you go and buy a bunch of stuff, you don't eat it all there, but it lets you see it all at the same time.
I see what you're saying. It's just, especially with the edibles, my concern is the delayed reactions. And I mean, we talk about people enjoying, whether it be chips or some sort of chocolate product or whatever. You open the bag and you can't stop until you get to the end. That's a concern, and I know it also has to do with personal behavior and being able to limit yourself. But the consumption is a really big concern, and although we cannot limit all or stop all behavior that we're trying to prevent here with respect to consumption, my hope is that
the people who are obtaining the license will do their best to prevent consumption so that they can in the future get another event permit, because my hope is the municipalities that do grant these will stress that there should be no consumption, otherwise there will be no permit to that particular retailer in the future. And that will help to limit the events, I'm hoping as well, because of the enforcement that way.
So I want to hold on taking a position on this and get finalized language to give people time to think through the new language. So I appreciate you presenting this new language to us, sir. Any questions for the member? Any comment? We can do some open discussion right now if you'd like, Rep. Coughlin.
I'd like to echo Representative Pango's concerns, and I mean, I'm not a fan of the events to begin with. When you have them, their initial thought was, well, we could showcase all of our different vendors and let people sample. That was the whole idea of the event. I don't see where a private event is going to benefit from this at all. Why would you have like a wedding? Why would you have a wedding that you're going to bring vendors in to showcase their products, knowing, well, can't serve alcohol at that event. So at your wedding, nobody could have a drink. You couldn't even toast the bride or groom because they were planning on toasting the bride and groom with something they got at the event. So it kind of kills that point. I still don't see a reason to have the events. So I don't, even the way this is written, I don't believe that somebody would go to the event and then, oh, let me check out this new stuff I just got. We know there's going to be bad actors. I don't see encouraging it.
That's why, thinking through this new proposal and components, that's why I wanted to give us some time with it. So, any other comment from the table? We just keep the floor going. So, all right. Seeing none, we will head to the floor. Nick,